Inflation slowed down a little bit more than anticipated in July, but soaring housing prices are still weighing very heavily on the inflationary pressures and on family budgets. According to CPI, Consumer Price Index, housing represents 1/3 of the entire index. So housing prices going up 17 to 20% still year over year, unfortunately, are weighing very heavily. At the root of the rising housing costs is a severe shortage of affordable housing. That's why there's new initiatives now coming out to bridge that gap. One is down payment assistance programs. Another one is the administration's proposition of waiving $10,000 on student loans for certain individuals making less than $124,000. In other news, the Fed had a meeting in Jackson Hole, Wyoming last week. Even though it was not a policy-making meeting, meaning there was no expectations of adjusting the Fed fund rate, the rhetoric was very, very important. And what was said is the Fed is a lot more concerned with inflation than they are with recession. They also said that they're willing to do as aggressive of moves as possible to bring the inflationary rate at their target 2% rate, even if it is at a cost of an economic slowdown. So again, recession in their eyes for right now is less important than the inflation is. In other news, pending home sales were down 1% from June to July, but this was still better because expectations were headed that 3% would be the decline. Sales were also nearly 20% lower than they were in July of last year. When it comes to new construction sales, those were down substantially, 12.6% from June to July, for an annualized 511,000 units sold. Sales were 30% lower than July of last year because new construction pricing, median prices are substantially higher than those of existing homes and therefore a lot less affordable with increased interest rates. And by the way, they're about 0.22% higher week over week. So we are just romancing with a 6% level for the 30-year fixed mortgage. So new construction is more expensive than existing, and because of it, the drops in the sales are that much more. New applications for unemployment were down 2,000 last week, and what they show is that the total benefits currently being collected as far as unemployment are 1.41 million people. The bottom line is the 4-week average of these unemployment claims is still staggering at about the same level. But it is said that as soon as that unemployment upticks a bit, we will see, unfortunately, recessionary signs. Lastly, GDP for the second quarter reported at negative 0.6%, and the first quarter revisions were brought at negative 1.6%. 2 quarters in a row typically indicate a recession. That's all I had for you today. Over and out, Beata Bukowski.